Hey everyone, and welcome to the Best of 3 Call of Duty Esports podcast. I'm your host, Josh. SalvationsElite to my right is Bash_Bo3, and to our farthest right, per usual, is none other than the Rex Shady Nero. And boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot to talk about today. Obviously, we're going through the hottest, spiciest takes that the competitive COD Reddit has to offer. So we're gonna be going through some controversial opinions today, and we'll be breaking down all the news of the week. Some really juicy conversations to be had. Crimsix, Slasher, a lot of news about Roster Mania and some of these new expansion teams. We'll be going through all of that. But before we get to any of that, guys, I gotta ask, boys, what's going on?
Well, Josh, I am feeling like a butterfly and I'm stinging like a bee right now.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
hopping around the ring, throwing hooks left, right, and center. There's nothing that can stop me. I'm climbing the steps to the sound of Rocky, and I'm jumping up and down in joy.
It's beautiful. That's beautiful. Straight to the point this week, really. Sam, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Could you get in the ring with Rex?
Oh no, I would be stung and floated on.
Get Krav Maga.
Oh no, that's tough, man. Things you hate to see.
Tough.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a fun one today, man. I mean, you can listen on Spotify, you can listen on Apple Podcasts, you can watch on YouTube, you can drop that comment on YouTube, you can drop a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And today, Sam, we got something there. Did people live up to the job, and did they drop anything?
No.
What?
Last review
Unbelievable.
Last review dated October 2nd.
Yo,
it's been
boys
a dry
out
spell,
there. You
boys.
guys gotta drop
Girls.
those reviews, boys. If you want to get that shout out on the pod, drop some questions in the reviews too, because we can kind of use them as the quick question. But
do we accept? We're in a dry spell, right? Do we accept the 4.5-star reviews?
No,
Only 5. Okay.
No.
Well, one day we'll have to go through the 1-star reviews.
Unbelievable.
We don't
What's
drop
the
our
first 1-star
standards.
review we got? That's what I want to know.
It was literally.
It was the
It
first
wasn't
review.
our first review. It was a 1-star.
This
Oh,
dude
we
just
should go
came out
back
of
and
nowhere.
read that.
Talk about left hooks. The guy was just throwing
It's the very
first
just
review.
back and
The guy-
forth.
Our
He was-
debut.
He was not happy. To say the
No.
least.
No,
I'm actually curious what he
legendary.
said.
But yeah, so that'd be fun. I've actually been down to go through some of those one day. But again, well, disappointing things you hate to see. Again, drop those reviews down below on Apple Podcasts. You can even drop a review on YouTube. 5-star review on YouTube. I'd imagine I'd see it. And then I can even drop that review there if you want. So we'll see what happens. But with that said, guys, we have no quick question today because we're going to have a long debate with some of these other hot topics. I thought we can just get right into the news and talk what's going on in the Call of Duty world. Let's get into it.
The Call of Duty News of the Week.
News here.
Oh, that was
News
perfectly
here.
timed.
Nice.
Come and
Let's
get your
go.
Call of
Nice.
Duty news. Aqua has retired. He posted a
Man.
twit longer on October 16th.
Dude, they're dropping like flies.
Not really want to approach
every
career
week.
retirement, but it's time to hang it up. Skip a bunch. He said he had bad internet, but that's not an excuse. Just like
Yeah.
in the past with World War II. He gave a lot of props to Clayster and other people in the scene for his
It
achievements.
was a good read.
And he's going to be moving on to streaming.
Yeah.
That was wild.
It's a good read. I mean, like, it's just crazy how many guys have retired in like the span of 3-4 months. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
And I mean, another guy who like, bursted onto the scene in the jetpack era. And I thought he still had something left in the tank if he ended up in the right situation. And like, he's one of those guys where like he could have made a really interesting roster, like with maybe some of these amateur guys and like maybe trying to make a run, being the veteran on an amateur team of like 3 other guys. I think it'd been like a really fun situation for him, but it just sucks that there were no other opportunities there. And I think he still could have been a really quality player in other games. So it's just tough, like with the whole situation for him.
Yeah. I was looking back at his COD Gamepedia just to kind of reminisce,
man.
and I totally forgot about like the Rise roster on IW of Looney, Aqua.
Oh, dude, they were so
Facenta,
good.
and Fellow. They were actually like pretty solid, and they stuck together pretty much the whole year. Like
Well,
they
they
didn't
were
make any
on that.
changes.
Well,
Yeah,
he was
I mean,
also
that's-
on that, I think, on that Elevate team in Black Ops 3, right?
Yeah,
No, yeah, he was
It
great.
was Aqua, Nagafen, Facento,
and Remy.
and Remy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
But
Clay
that
was
team
on there
was like
one
a
time.
surprising team. I remember in Black Ops 3, like they're kind of like the dark horse at the time, I feel like.
Yeah.
No, he was great. So it just sucks. Like, I don't know. I mean, he feels like he had like not even a real fair shot since BO4. And with the rosters that kind of like end up, you know, with like the splice situation. Even in World War II, he was on oh my word, with like Saints. What's the team called? Yeah, Echo Fox.
Oh yeah.
And that whole situation, and that just was a tough team too, with just a kind of thrown together squad. And then like with Paris this year, it's like such a pickup squad with not what they wanted to have happen with roster maintenance. It's just a tough situation where it's like, I feel like with Aqua, like in a world where there wasn't a CDL and he could make any squad he in theory wanted and like compete through, you know, open bracket if he had to and do those things like to play in pool play, I could see him really making some moves. It just sucks that it kind of played out how it did for him.
You almost wonder if he was too loyal. I mean, like each year he's pretty much on the same team all year long. Like,
yeah, that's true.
IW Rise, Black Ops 3, Elevate, all of it. World War II, all Echo Fox. So, you know, he's just a loyal guy, you know. Props
what
to
can
Aqua.
you say, dude?
What can you say?
Facts.
But yeah,
Yuli will go down in history, man, as one of the coolest names also.
Oh, for sure. That was definitely like, you kind of thought about it, like it's possible he could retire, but when I saw it, I was like, man, that just sucks.
I agree.
Yeah, he also said, because like he said he's retiring because no CDL team like picked him up to play and he didn't want to do challengers. He says he understands why. It's probably because of his attitude and how he was towards the end. But when you get picked up last minute for the past 3 years, things carry out with like you get a lot of stress from that, which
for sure.
Understandable.
It is.
Definitely. I didn't realize that he kind of like how much of his like start in competitive COD was because he needed money. Because I was listening to him talk about, or them talk about on the flank, like he like legit started playing competitive COD because he desperately needed money. Like what a clutch play. I mean, that is insane. Like that's just straight up talent right there and ice in your veins. So that's pretty insane overall. And shout out Aquaman. I hope he succeeds, man. I mean, he seems like the type of guy who could absolutely fry in like Warzone or doing other games or whatever. So
yeah,
I'm curious, Josh. Who do you think could not thrive and do well playing Warzone in the COD scene?
Well, I mean, I feel like Aqua like is built for it though, like as an AR, and he's kind of like cracked out, and he's just got like, and like it's just so true. Like he just could absolutely be a beast. But to be fair, any COD pro, if they really wanted to grind in Warzone, could dominate.
Yeah. But yeah, he says it's either like streaming BR games like Warzone, but he also said if any teams are looking for an assistant coach, he's would like to look at that too. So
that'd be interesting.
We'd love to see that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Dope.
Yeah.
Next up, Hicksy was signed to the Ultra as their substitute.
Well, reportedly, you know, CDL Intel.
Yeah,
and then Hicksy also put out its official contracts GIF, you know, which always means something's coming down the barrel here with news. So, and with all of those things lining up, seems pretty dang likely that that's going to be happening. Hicksy's interesting. I mean, obviously this year in the European scene and how, I mean, he was kind of known like in the AM scene overall, but then like he kind of went mainstream from the scouting series, ironically.
Yeah.
And
that's where I kind of first heard about him, honestly.
Yeah, and like going big there, which is really interesting that he's kind of the
actually is true. Yeah,
which
first player to get going
looking
there.
Back, sorry, this is way off topic, but
no,
the scouting series was kind of a win, honestly. Like
I still think it is.
It was exposure. Keep doing that. It was
honestly like they could say it wasn't exposure, but like I think more people were probably paying attention to that than what you're giving credit for. Like all the clips of what coaches picked are going on competitive Reddit, and that's getting spread around. I think people underestimated the value of what that was.
Yeah,
honestly, it's not like they're going to get on a team because of it, but it's a great opportunity to get your name out. And it really was. Like, you remember Hicksy, you remember Whalers, you remember that whole thing.
Absolutely.
It was probably just better to go first, which I think like the European side was the first day. And
I was going to say, I feel like a lot of the European guys were like kind of like found out from like that first day for sure. But
yeah, I was trying to go figure out exactly where some of these, I mean, a lot of the guys from the series ended up in the league. I mean, like you go back and look at the scouting series. From the first day of it could have been run better, first of all, but I think
100% could have run better, but it was the right idea.
Better, and it could even be more official. Like if it was casted by casters, Like, I think it could be awesome.
Well, I like the coach involvement with it too. Like, some coaches clearly just didn't care, but like Nubsy, he cared as much as you would think he should care. Like, he was entertaining. Like, he actually had opinions about why he was picking these different players and had background and actually kind of like gave some sort of coaching, even though some of us was like humorous or not. But like, there was still like that sense of like connection to it. Whereas like other coaches, and I won't say any names, was just like, why are you even streaming this? You're not doing anything. But I do think like one stream and then like bring coaches in to like interview with Shift or whoever is doing it.
Well, I mean,
to like talk about why they picked who they picked and stuff.
Yeah, it was community led last year with like Shift doing a lot of the casting, all of those guys, that whole crew doing all the casting, where it's like, if this is like an official like casted event from the CDL, that'd be really awesome. Like involving the challengers players, bringing in the coaches, doing post-game interviews with coaches, like officially with all the casters and having all these games scheduled out throughout the day. Could be really cool. And like, I think a really, really fun time and like a cool weekend early on event, like a December, like 5th type of online event to do. I think it could be really fun. And like, I'm hoping we could see something like that.
Well, December 5th seems a little early, right?
I mean, like at the end of the day, you're just picking like maybe like the first or second week after the first 2K, you know, somewhere in there. I mean, the game comes out in, 2 weeks from Friday. It's like November 5th. So, I mean, December 5th would be a whole month already with the game.
Yeah. Maybe have it sponsored.
Yeah, like last year.
Best of 3 sponsors it.
Oh, now we're talking.
The best of 3 Call of Duty Elite Series. Scouting.
There we go.
Because last year, so the first day, like Paul X was the first overall pick. Then Venom. Then Standy. Then Zaptius. Then Jimbo. Saints. Diamond Con. Blast. Hollow. Like some guys who were either in the league before or a lot of them got in the league that season.
Yeah.
And had really good years. And then European League, or in the EU side, it was Afro, Bids, Chain, Defrags, Detain, Maple, Dave, Denza, Vortex, Nasty, Whalers. And then, Hicksy was drafted in those rounds too, in the second round. And like, there's a lot of guys who ended up getting in there because of those opportunities. I think it's actually really interesting.
Shout out Afro. He was on the winning Dynasty draft team. So thank you, Afro.
Wait, you talking about your draft?
Oh, yeah.
I thought we could talk about that in the intelligent irrelevant.
He says
segment.
Winning, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. But yeah, I think it's gonna be fun, man. Looking forward to it. Hicksy to Ultra, overall thoughts. I think great signing.
Yes.
Great signing.
100%.
Their record is Insight and Kleenex as their substitutes so far in the CDL. So they are 2 for 2.
Hold on. They had first season, they had a bunch of substitutes who didn't work out. So
okay, well, I
don't know if we count those or not, but
let's just
not count the Modern Warfare season. How about that?
They had 10 substitutes. Good thing at least one of them was pretty good.
Well, the subs who ended up playing in their starting lineup consistently worked.
Yeah.
I will say though too, like that's a cool move from Ultra. Like they could like just not have a sub and like just keep their roster. But I think it shows like they still do want to culture new talent. I think that is a cool thing for Ultra to do. Like especially if for God forbid something doesn't go right this year. But like they have a fantastic up and comer talent. So
I think Ultra gets slammed too much on social media, if I'm being honest. I mean, they're a pretty professional team.
Yeah.
And like they're organized. It seems like they take care of their players pretty well. Like they have the whole meme with Bell Fiber. So like they literally are known to have the best internet for their team and it sponsors their team.
Ultra had that.
They're a good team.
Had that thing with Ban or what's his name? Wow. What was like that like Twitter thing that was going on where like they were accused of being horrible to their players.
Was that Bans?
That was didn't Crim? Crim said something about them, I thought.
No, it was who was the guy that played on LG with formal
Classic?
No.
Brack.
Gosh dang it, Brack.
Oh yeah.
It was Brack. It was that whole thing with Brack. Gosh dang it.
Oh, there was that whole thing with Brack.
Who,
the whole traveling thing. That's the one thing nobody can kind of wrap their mind around. And I don't know if I still can, why it's so strict to it. But like,
well, it was like last year was also the whole like players need to be in Toronto and do content and those types of things. Then things got more
how much
lax.
content are they putting out?
Yeah, well, I mean, this year was a lot better, but
Yeah,
No,
they
for
did put out
sure.
some stuff this year.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we'll
but
see.
the reason for doing it wasn't wrong. Honestly, the reason they're keeping everybody in the same place is more for the fans. So, like,
Yeah.
you have the debates like, should they be doing that to their players? But it's also like they're trying to provide value to their fans as well.
True.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. So we'll see what happens.
Washington team name.
Yes, sir.
There are the potential rosters of Methods, Vivid, PaulX, and a fourth.
Right. This is the sale from the NRG roster spot to the Washington DC team, which is owned by the current Washington DC team in the Overwatch League.
The Justice, yeah.
The Justice.
Just
And so that potential roster.
The rumored name, the Washington Demon Cats.
Very interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, you want to explain the kind of like the lore behind that? That's kind of why. Because off the rip, it's like what in the world? The Demon Cats?
Yeah.
Pretty
First
dope.
off, it's an alliteration of DC because they're not the Washington State, it's Washington, DC. So like Demon Cats.
Yeah.
But also Demon Cats is like sort of a legend in DC where it's like
lore.
this. Yeah. I think it's like some like dead cat or spiritual
ghost of a
cat
cat?
thing. It's this demon cat. It's the ghost of this cat that everyone calls the demon cat. And it only goes around the White House
And haunts government buildings.
Yeah, and haunts government buildings, and everyone calls it the demon cat. And there's always like these little sightings here and there of like this random black cat.
Do you remember that clip of Trump? He was at the table and he made this like hissing cat noise.
Wait, what?
Does anyone remember this? Okay.
Trump made a hissing cat noise.
That's
I think he was trying to pronounce
hilarious.
like a word with like th, like the, but he like held the for like so long.
Oh, really?
Maybe he's like reading it.
I'll have to pull it up.
Oh, no.
But like maybe the demon cat possessed
The
him.
demon cat.
The demon cat is who really runs the world.
That's true. That's true.
Don't you guys forget it. There's no conservative. There's no liberal. There's only
Hopefully
demon
the
cats.
demon cat.
Hopefully when this goes up, I can find the clip.
And they own
post
all
it.
of humanity.
It's the demon cat.
Funny.
I mean,
Oh
so
my
as for the
gosh.
roster, though, thoughts on this
Yes.
Methods, Vivid, PaulX situation? So Methods on the flank was like, he was like, meow, meow.
Oh my gosh.
So he started
what?
meowing on the flank, and which was comedy. I was definitely
The
laughing.
thing is, I don't
And-
think Demon Cats is like the worst name.
No,
I've ever heard.
I-
like it's different and makes
It's
it seem like
memey.
it's memey, but isn't memes. That is video game culture that kind of like fits in with esports in general.
Well,
Yeah.
but like think about it too. Like think about like when like say like Duke, like Blue Devils. That probably sounded really weird at first, but like now it's just like, oh, Blue Devils. Like
Oh, it's Duke.
You-
Yeah.
it's like I
Yeah.
think it's gonna sound weird, but like in like a year even, it's probably like, oh yeah, the Demon Cats. Like
if you create
cool.
a good brand, it works.
oh, for
I
sure.
think they
I
could
think-
destroy it. Like they have so
Rex
much
and I were
meme
talking about this a
potential.
little bit before the pod, but like, yeah, if they brought in the right, social media manager and had some fun with it and, memed on the Demon Cat stuff and have fun with it, I think that brand could work out really, really well for CDL.
I think so too. And they seem to do, like, from what I understand, like people like them in the Overwatch League. Don't take my word
I
on
guess
that.
would
But
be
I
the
think
thing.
the narrative is that they're a pretty good org to
Okay.
be on.
All right.
Yeah.
So I think they're a good addition to COD.
I will say too, like focusing on the roster of Methods, Vivid, PaulX, and the fourth. This could be like a pretty high contender. Like,
Yeah, it depends who that
team.
fourth is.
I mean, if you get Methods, like I think you pretty much know with like Methods, like he's just a solid
sure.
AR.
So throw
Vivid.
Paul on flex, you think?
Yeah,
Yeah, Paul Flex for sure.
yeah. And then Vivid, if he pretty much showed what he could do on LEG, and then
Yeah.
plus
And Dallas. you know.
Dallas, like this could be a pretty gross roster.
Who would
So,
you want as the fourth as a second SMG? Like, would you want like a
I would
Venom?
get an AM. I mean,
Or would you want like a real shot, a more of a shot in the dark AM that hasn't had a shot yet, like in the CDL?
I think here's like
I mean, PaulX
the
and
thing
Venom
is
already
people are
have
going to look
that.
at these names and no
Yeah.
one's going to be like they're a top 6 team or whatever.
Right off the bat, probably no, but like they like have the potential. They have the ability to be top 5, top 6 for sure.
I agree, but I feel like there is like, I don't think you can just throw anybody in there. Like a team also like thrives off like a hype that the team has around them. Like you can even see it in Subliners. Like I think Clay did a lot, but I think a big reason they also were successful is just because of the brand that they were able to build there creates this momentum for the players and everything.
Yeah, it's just tough to kind of figure out who that next player would be on this team.
If it were me, I would pick up an amateur, NA amateur. That's like pretty good, like that you hope will be great. Otherwise, I feel like you got to get some name that you can, like Methods is a decent enough name, I guess, to like pull views, but I don't know, like getting a new amateur, and if he's really good, like an Afro's the big name on Ravens now. So it's like have a similar situation happening with your team that makes somebody want to watch your team play.
I mean, it just comes down to like, you know, who's the right guy, you know, like do you go the higher upside, like do you go like Saints, you know, someone like that? Or do you go like guy who hasn't proven it in the CDL ever? Like a literal new AM.
It depends what you want to go. Like Saints is obviously a safe bet, but there is something to be said, like where when you're a name that's known and you're in challengers, it almost hurts you. Like you're seeing Methods, we're seeing Parasite, seeing these players who are like, you know, they were pretty good and they could compete in the CDL and like they did good things for their teams. But once they hit challengers, it's kind of like people just see them in a different light. And then since all the success of these new named amateurs,
Prestinni?
I mean, that wouldn't be a bad.
You pair Prestinni and Vivid, the same type of player?
I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think you need a name that nobody knows or a name that you probably are not going to be able to get with this team.
I don't mind Prestinni.
No, that wouldn't be a bad Vivid pairing, honestly.
Depends what you want to do with it. I don't know.
Because it's like, otherwise you're taking a pretty big shot in the dark on a guy. I mean, you'd have to have the vouch of like,
but how,
I'm sure Vivid's still connected.
Like, is it good enough to be like, just from an organization standpoint, when you're the bottom 5 or whatever, like, does it really matter if you're last or if you're 5th? Like, well, you're trying to make terms of like how much brand, like sponsorships and things you can bring.
I mean, you're trying to make champs.
Being last almost serves you better in a way. You have something to kind of work with.
I mean, you're trying to get into champs. Give yourself a shot at champs, first of all. So you're trying to go for top 8. And I think if you get Prestinni in that roster, or Methods, Vivid, Paulex, Prestinni would be right there with top 8 type teams. So I mean, again, the league's so balanced already, though. I know what you're meaning. Like, take your shot on the highest upside play you can get and see what happens. But
it gives you a chance to go farther, and also you might just get more eyes just because who's this mystery hero like we had with Hydra and Afro? Like, these are mystery heroes coming in. No one really knows how good they're going to be in the pro league, but they're supposed to be really good.
I mean, you could even throw in TJ in there if you wanted to.
For sure.
But,
I mean, there's definitely a lot of guys you could throw in there for sure. I'll be interested to see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it feels pretty likely this happens, right?
Well, like, Method said he's nowhere near a deal with a team at this point, and he said that on the flank. But
yeah, I don't know. That was a few days ago.
He says near a deal, so it's like, I guess there's a deal out there. Like,
but I feel like anyone's going to say that though. Like,
yeah, right.
Yeah, like no one's going to make claims like, I've been talking to this team a lot. So
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That's why I'm like timid about it, or not timid, but like not sure how to go about it, because it's like, you know, I would assume.
Yeah, I hope he makes it. I hope he makes it onto that team.
Because if Crone's reporting it, he doesn't miss often. You know, it's like at this point, I'd imagine this is pretty freaking close to happening. The Vivid buyout's interesting though. That's really interesting, because then we have to talk about then who's going to get signed as the Optic Dallas substitute. You know, who's that going to be? What's that going to look like? It's interesting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who would you put your best bet on as a 4th
for this team?
Yeah, I think Prestinni's pretty likely based off of his tweet. It could be Kismet. I mean,
well, yeah, there was 3 tweets. I think that's also the news. Like,
I guess we can move those things up here. Yeah, with Prestinni and Kismet.
Yeah, so Prestinni posted a tweet, you know, kind of alluding to that he might have a team offer. He said, drop the bad habits, started doing everything I said I needed to, and now so many doors have opened. Positive thoughts attract positive results, opportunities. So he has opportunities out there.
Yeah.
And I guess we just take it as, probably about playing competitive COD. And then Kismet as well, who was on Paris in Modern Warfare. He just posted an image of Michael Jordan with that cigar. Says, it became personal for me. And then RC says, Big Kiss is back.
Yeah, so that's possible. That's possible then. I wonder.
I think Kismet is, that's overblown.
Could that be the BBG team being signed by Paris?
Oh,
that's possible.
Maybe. Here's the thing. What happens with Parasite?
I would imagine he ends up in Challengers again.
Dude, that's such bull trash, man. Like,
bull trash.
Like, he at least should have a coaching position, hopefully. He could be a player for these teams.
Trash. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I agree. It'll be interesting to see because, I don't know. I would Venom, Spart, Saints.
I mean, I could see Venom seeing as like they were on West R together. Not Gravity, but probably Venom.
Yeah, no, not Gravity, but Zaptius. Do you give him another go?
I honestly would be surprised if they threw TJ on. Like, I don't know. He's played with Methods in the Challengers last year, right?
Yeah. They teamed together in the past, obviously. So yeah, Methods would be very. Tej, Venom, Zap, Saints, and Prestinni. Those 5 all seem very possible. So we'll see, I guess, with what happens with that Washington squad. I mean, I don't think that team off the rip, even with that squad, if it's any of those 5, would be probably in the top 7. They'd be in that like Seattle, Florida Mutineers type debate. Like, okay, where are you at with those teams probably? But it is tough.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Cool.
All right.
Sorry, I got really sidetracked. I was watching the
Rex,
Subliners.
you were zoning out.
I was watching the Subliners A Crown for a King video.
Okay.
I'm trying to work out if it's a meme. I think it's a meme, but I don't get it.
No, what? No, that's Neptune.
Yeah. It's from the SpongeBob.
King Neptune, the SpongeBob episode.
Oh my God. Oh, now I get it. Well, it's just here's the thing for audio listeners, or if we're not showing it or whatever, it's just a rotating picture of a brown paper bag upside down with the Subliners logo, and it's like rotating, and it looks like it's rotating in like a microwave.
Yeah.
But it does have words for those who rule the deep. Your moment has arrived. A crown made for a king. Oh man, that's actually pretty brilliant.
Oh, it's really good.
I did not even think SpongeBob though.
Yeah, so that roster. When was their date? I didn't add that to the news, but that's
shout out Gersh.
Next week.
Shout out Gersh. That paper bag now available in limited quantities.
Yeah, it's actually cool. I noticed that they were doing it for like a charity. If you wanted to actually you could buy the bag for a charity. Yeah.
Rex, I'm surprised this is news to you. I thought you've been all over this.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I don't watch every little video that comes across my feed. And this
Rex has small attention span.
I literally thought they were just selling merch, and I don't watch all the merch releases if I'm being honest. And but no, that's pretty cool.
There you go.
It's for the New York Marine Center, dedicated to marine conservation.
Yeah, Rex. So what else we got going on in the news here?
Salary cap and balance tax.
Oh, before that, we got DREAL with the Subliners. Speaking of Subliners.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes.
So DREAL now has a coaching spot in the Subliners. He coached Hydra's team in amateurs.
Supposedly, right?
No, he did.
That's fact, right?
Yeah.
I
mean the coaching spot.
Oh, it's not official yet.
Oh, okay, it's a CDL Intel tweet. DREAL might be coaching the Subliners. But he has a connection to Hydra. Helped Hydra learn English.
Back last year in Modern Warfare. Yeah, because he was currently the coach of the Elevate team. So that was the Hicksy, Denza, Bids, and Weeman team, who had a lot of success this year with multiple wins on the season. and stuck together they were together for a long time. Looking at COD Gamepedia here. Yeah, they were together from basically February up until the end of the season. So good to see them sticking together. Or no,
they're top 4 team, top 3, top 2, right?
Yeah, they were together. Yeah, they were like a top 1, 2, 3 team for basically the whole year up until they finished top 6 of the European finals. But yeah, they were literally top 3 the whole season.
Yeah, has a coaching spot, could be Subliners.
Yeah, and DREAL was the coach of Singularity last year with that obviously really successful team on the whole year. And because
the thing is, he knows French too, right? Is that how he taught him English?
I would imagine he at least knows some, but as far as I know, he helped teach Hydra English. I don't know if that means he can speak Spanish or French, but yeah, that dates back to the Train Hard team, and that was the French team, and he was the coach of that team in Modern Warfare. So I would imagine he can speak some French, but I honestly don't know off the top of my head.
That'd be cool, and I think it'd be great if he was added to the Subliners team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. It's ironic because, again, this was kind of the funny thing when that got announced, is that him and Crim had a little bit of Twitter beef like over the summer about like leadership styles and those debates. And so for that roster of Crim, Clay, Hydra, and Neptune to be together is ironic with DREAL on that coaching staff.
Destiny.
Yeah. Because, I mean, they had debates about like leadership styles and how someone should approach feedback and all of that. And got a little spicy in the timeline.
I mean, it was basically like what Crim thinks, you need to be able to like get in your teammates' face, tell them exactly what they're doing wrong, and like be able to take harsh criticisms. Whereas DREAL took more of an overarching approach where it's like, that will work for some people, that's not going to work for other people. You have to like change how you lead depending on who you're leading.
Yeah.
So
basically
in a way, like, they're both kind of right, but
for sure, like it comes off like as, Crim's just he delivers the news as straightforward as it gets, and sometimes it can come off a little harsh, kind of like the Parasite situation. With how that goes.
There's something
sometimes.
to be said about it, though. I mean, it works for some people, but it doesn't work for others. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, salary cap now.
Okay, salary cap. Let me pull up my tab for it here.
Basically.
Yeah,
the CDL is announcing that we're not going to be having the salary cap anymore in the league. So this is supposedly what's going to be going down here. This was reported by the Sports Business Journal that the Overwatch and Call of Duty leagues are going to be getting rid of their competitive balance tax and maximum salary cap. So competitive balance tax is basically the luxury tax. Like if you follow the MLB or NBA, same situation, where teams so far currently in CDL, if you went over the salary cap, you had to pay a pretty significant luxury tax on that salary that was over the salary cap. And apparently the CDL is getting rid of that. So it's not clear if that's actually going to affect the CDL at all, but it was coming off the news of Crim and talking about salaries and stuff. So it's like a weird timing for it to kind of get announced.
Yeah.
I'm saying, man, contracts need to be made public.
That's today's question, isn't it?
I would obviously love it. Oh, is it? I actually haven't seen it.
It could be. I don't know. I don't make the question.
Oh, you don't now, huh?
On my third day here.
But yeah, like you said, it's basically just about there's no luxury tax anymore. So like a person like Scump opted them to pay even more just to happen.
Yeah, so this right now off the rip, it definitely helps the bigger teams. Like it definitely helps the teams who are currently paying the luxury tax. And then it'll help encourage, I think overall it's probably a good thing for the players because it'll at least won't discourage teams from being willing to put forth more money. And then it comes down, then the other debate would be like, okay, do like teams like FaZe, do they start leveraging this and then really asking for the bag to be on their currently winning team? So it could create for some more interesting contract debate too.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's just going to help and like kind of see if certain players may be inflated, like their salaries are inflated, or are some players not getting paid enough, and just just make it more transparent. And I think it just will help the league all around. But I don't know. I think it's just in regards to the salary cap and in general. I mean, I think.
Do you think it's gonna have an effect?
I don't know if it'll have an effect like immediately, but maybe at like some point in the near future, if we have like superstars that require a large salary, or I don't know. I mean,
like that's the thing, is that basically for the top elite players, the simps, the scumps of the world, that like these guys who have insane value to an organization, they could ask for the bag now, like the full on bag if they really want to, and like basically like, all right, I'm not playing. Like if you're scump, like, all right, well, I'm down to play if you pay me this amount, this insane amount. Otherwise, I'm going to retire and go to Warzone because I'm going to make more money over there. So maybe this could be a countermeasure to keep Scump around. Like this could literally be like a, oh no, Scump's going to retire after this season if we don't like, you know, help him make more money. Like let's make it easier on organizations to pay Scump. Like this could be like quite literally a Scump countermeasure.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'll work. I don't know. I mean, the only team I feel like could actually afford Scump prices
is Envy.
Is LAG.
Fair? Yeah.
Who else is like, I think Subliners might have a lot of money too.
I mean, I would imagine Envy/Optic could definitely still pull something, a huge contract off for sure. But obviously LAG has the potentially deepest pockets depending on like what their leverage looks like and how they're divvying out their contracts for now. I mean, obviously we've heard right now that their contracts are huge compared to what players thought that those type of players were going to get. So I think to your point, like, yeah, like they definitely have bigger pockets than a lot of teams or players thought originally. But yeah, I mean, I think
they should have known that. I mean, they might have actually known they had pockets because they were known to be super rich in Overwatch League too. For sure. And like, and at the end of the day, like, you know, Cronky's loaded as it gets. So we'll see. I think it's a good move overall for the CDL. I agree.
Agreed.
Tim the Tab Man said he's pushing Complexity to get a COD team.
Please.
That'd be dope.
Please, man.
Doug as your captain, baby. Let's go. Run it back with Complexity.
Run it back. Bring Dashy back, baby. Let's make it happen.
Do it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This would be great. I want Tim to be in the CDL. Like, yes, please. Like this would be great to happen. And Tim, like in the clip, said, like, yeah, I'm pushing for this. Like, I want it to happen. So hopefully that means it's going to happen, like with an expansion situation. Again, any expansion team we can get is a dub at this point. So,
and then having like popular streamers to back it is also a huge dub too. Like we need these players to like imagine like a Tim and then like Dr. Disrespect like joins in somehow. I don't know.
Right.
That'd be great.
And Tim's on YouTube now. So like, you know, he could co-stream the events.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's epic. That's great. You know?
Yep.
So hopefully we can get something like that to happen because that would be elite. And I'm all in for that for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Halo has a competitive test team, basically meaning that they have...
We should have buried this at the bottom of the news.
Retired pro players. Sam put this here.
Sam, what are you doing?
They have retired pro players that work for 343. And they basically just play the game competitively before they release like the patch and stuff. And they kind of like make sure everything is good competitively.
The dream.
So they're still playing competitive just for 343 and not for tournaments or anything.
Oh, it'd be so sick.
It's a pretty sweet gig, isn't it? Guaranteed money.
They need to have I mean, it's probably like a focus group. It'd be like a situation where it's like Aches and, you know, Slasher and Scump. Like a lot of like established pros are playing and play testing the game in some sense, I'd imagine, or maybe.
Well, they're like former pros.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's all Halo is former pros, you know. So
yeah, and it's like a permanent spot there. Like, I don't think it's like a contracted spot. I think it's like you have a job, a salary, and your job is to.
I think I'd imagine it's not a full-time gig. It's definitely gotta be some sort of part-time gig.
Maybe,
like,
I don't know.
But
I have to read the article again. This is. Don't think that is for news.
Vanguard anti-cheat.
Okay, Vanguard anti-cheat. It's here.
Yeah, COD anti-cheat. It's here, baby. How you doing?
Oh my gosh.
And me? Am I talking?
Well, yeah, you're talking. You're the news guy here.
Well, this breaking Activision announces Ricochet anti-cheat.
Hey.
So for Warzone and Yeah. There's an anti-cheat called Ricochet.
Big
I think it's going to help.
Is it a step in the right direction?
I mean, any anti-cheat is better, right?
Yeah, there's already been some news about it potentially like not being as effective as people would have thought. But like,
it never is. It never is.
Right. I mean, what do you hope it's going to do? You know, like.
Yeah, there's. I was trying to follow up on this, but like, there's like something with that like PC kernel level driver. Like, I'm so illiterate when it comes to that kind of stuff. So I was trying to figure out, like there's some people that were saying like having it be that kernel level is like not a good thing. Like it's like security issues. And again, I don't really know what I'm talking about here, but like apparently there's like some like security
All right, Sam, you're our
issues.
expert here, so let us know what's going down.
Is that like what Valorant does with their like system tray?
I don't know.
That's
Honestly.
Yeah, Sam, come on, dude. You gotta know these things.
And you have to have it open to play it.
But basically, someone in like the comments was like, there'd be a way for people to like exploit it. It's like where like they can like see your information because of like the way it works with your PC. So I think like there's like just some concerns right now about like how the
longevity of it, maybe.
Yeah. So I think there's going to be a plan. I'm sure it's going to be good, but off the bat, I think there's just a little bit of hesitation from some people like who like kind of know how this stuff kind of works. But and then like long term
says the outlook is good.
Oh, hey, and we can always trust the 8-ball because. But no, I am glad though. Like that's huge if they like launch this now, because I think especially with like now how like Warzone is, we kind of need Warzone to be doing well too for the COD community. And there's a lot of people that were going off of Warzone because of just how many cheaters there was or were. So,
for sure. Well, I mean, at least they've got it launching before Vanguard. Like, it's at least a step in the right direction that they are. Like, they had like a timetable set. They need this thing out before a new game, and they got it out at least there. So
definitely. And then I think too, like, and like we not only Warzone, but like challengers. Like, how many clips do we see of like the online challengers where there is like such obvious cheating happening, where these guys will get like the like semifinals, but then like absolutely suck because they're getting watched. Yeah, now they're being watched. So it's like, okay, there's a reason why they got that far. But yeah, so
hopefully that helps iron out some of those things.
Absolutely. Anything to help with more stability, more fairness in the game. I mean, that's just going to be great. So I think overall W on
I'd say so.
Expert or Sledgehammer.
Big
I agree.
Pog.
Poggers.
Pog.
College COD acquired by eFuse. So if you guys don't know about the CCL, the College Call of Duty League, basically it was like a free, like, just a bunch of college teams. It was made up of volunteers. Everyone was just very passion based. I know Shift did casting for it.
Yeah. It's cool.
And now they were bought by eFuse.
Yeah, basically it's going to give them a bigger budget and more flexibility to host more events. So
they'll actually have a budget.
It's going to exactly, because they were basically all volunteer based before. So I mean, this is a good step in the right direction to help College COD become more established and like more official and things like that. So pretty cool. I think that's a good step in the right direction for more opportunities for people to play competitive COD, baby.
For sure. I think it further legitimizes like college COD and gives it a home.
I agree. That's cool. Wait, real quick. I want to talk about the BO4. This is kind of crazy to me. Okay. Because there was like a little leak earlier. I wouldn't have to talk about it too long, but like that originally BO4 was supposed to have a wall running and passive abilities for every single character. Like legit wall running. When it comes to, they said there was like Slayer characters, support characters, and something else. And that the Slayer characters had wall running abilities on certain portions of the map. And I was like, what? Like, that was crazy. Kind of blew my mind.
No, and like in this video, like it's on Reddit if you guys want to go look at it. But like, he showcased like certain area of the maps where like you could kind of tell this is probably meant for like a wall run spot. Like if you it's the map with like the church and the bridge, like the wide open grassy. Like there's that jump up spot that's like really high up there, but like you can still get up there. Like it seems like impossible to make, but you still make it.
Right. And that was the biggest thing was like in BO4, like why can you mantle these insane things?
Super
like,
high, like really high areas. And like, well, maybe this was meant for only certain characters at the beginning, but then they just patched it to be everyone. But that would have been interesting. Like certain people could only do it. I think
how in the world would that have worked with Crim? That would have been,
I don't know,
insane. I mean,
I guarantee you, if it would have happened, they would have just GA'd it like so fast. I'm sure.
Well, I think they were abilities that were like built into the characters, though. Like you could not use them unless they had like some specific competitive setting, I guess. But
yeah, maybe even like certain maps you couldn't even like use it. Like Gridlock, where'd you use it on Gridlock?
I don't know. It's kind of crazy. So.
I mean, if they can turn wall running off and on like that, you know, maybe we throw some jetpacks back in. Just, you know, we'll make certain maps you can play jetpacks on.
Certain game modes.
I mean,
they'll like have like this like serum where you just like inject yourself and kind of like wall run.
They're just like, just throw us in space, like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? You know, there you go.
Yeah. Never know.
But last piece of news here.
Crim versus Alex Rubens. He's an analyst for LAG.
No, he's the GM.
He's the GM for LAG. Maybe you should talk about this.
Well, basically the whole debate went down. So this is like when Twitter kind of blew up basically because Crim got into it with him on the timeline and it was kind of crazy overall. Basically, they were just going back and forth exchanging tweets about the Crim originally started ranting about how bad some teams are with lower salaries in the CDL, that some of these teams in the CDL are offering literally like minimum wages, like we're seeing with Paris, and like offering players only the minimum wage to play COD. He thinks it's like an absolute scam and a joke. And basically Alex Rubens, the GM for LAG, was kind of firing back saying like, that's totally not true. Only one team's doing that. And he thinks right now it's just kind of like where the league's at. And basically, it all culminated with them going on the flank together and talking it out, kind of like in a moderated debate overall. And I think it was like a really beneficial conversation overall with Crim and them talking through a lot of those things. And Crim kind of revealed a lot of things as well, like in that whole conversation. Like Vivid's buyout was bigger than Hook's, and like Vivid was a more expensive player to acquire than Clay was. And like a lot of different things that kind of came out of that conversation. I thought that was just really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I do, you know, out of the whole situation, I feel like I kind of sided more with Alex Rubens on the whole thing. Like, especially when he says like,
I did too,
stuff where it's like, you think mid-tier players should make 280K standard in a league that barely pulls 40K viewers. And like, that's kind of where I kind of stood, where it's like, maybe at some point we can get there, but like there's no like hiding the fact that like we don't get a ton of views at the current state of franchise Call of Duty. Like,
well, enough views to warrant like
there's isn't like
paychecks.
Yeah. And so I get that, where it's like, I don't think orgs are like trying to, like, most of them at least aren't trying to scam their players, but like that's just what the budget constraints are for a league of this size at this moment in time. So I don't know. That's kind of what I took away from it. I get Crim's point of view though, like where
I mean, obviously Paris is leeching though. Like,
yeah, oh no, yeah, and like that's why I say I think like 11 out of 12 orgs are doing what they can. Paris just doesn't seem to be doing.
Yeah, and
anything,
then like Alex Rubens did do a good job of like, you know, he's like, yeah, we didn't have the chance to put our best foot forward like year one because we were like a late addition to the expansions and we didn't have a full team built out by the time Roster Mania was here. And so like, you know, they had some like good reasons for why like they didn't feel like they got to maximize their organization for the first year, and then COVID hit. And so there's a lot of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, like I understand the whole situation. And now you see LAG putting forward a great roster. So, you know, that's exciting. And I think overall, like I agree with, like, I think the whole conversation between him and Crim was like really good and beneficial overall. And then I think the content piece is probably the most interesting debate overall from the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. What did he say?
Well, basically, Crim straight up said that he thinks that Activision should have content requirements for every single CDL team, which I mean, you know, from my perspective,
I thought there was supposed to be.
I'm down. I mean, like that would be great. And then he thinks that every team should have content requirements for every single player. Like
interesting.
That is like a pretty like high bar. You know, it's okay playing this league and do your
Crim,
best.
honestly.
I was going to say, like, especially with like Crim being like a part of like Dallas, where it's like not about content. You know, they're not the hoodie org. They're the championship org.
Yeah, but he said like he was paid to show up for content. Every content shoot was like a paid hourly wage. So he said he really thought that was great, and those types of things, which I also think is kind of ironic because I mean, like, when's the last time you uploaded on the YouTube channel? It's been like 9 months. So it is kind of ironic, you know, where it's like, yeah, he's down to show up for Envy, but like, you know, I mean, you know, how about you could post your own content too, you know, man, like you could do that.
Yeah, but it's up to the, you know, he wants to make money competing. It's up to the org.
For sure.
It's the org's job to promote their players and promote themselves through that.
Yeah,
I mean, I kind of understand. It's like, why is the onus on the players to have to focus on content and focus on being like the best competitor? That just seems, you know, unrealistic expectations.
That's fair. I mean, I do agree that like if you force, there's a tough balance because like if you force players to do content, the content's going to be crap and it's going to be It's just going to be wasting their time anyway. Well, I mean,
player content is just gameplay. Or, you know, they go into a pub, here's my class and here's me shredding with it.
For sure. Like it wouldn't be like any really unique content more than likely that would probably not get very many views if they're not trying to put a lot of effort into it.
Yeah.
So like it'd have to be a really organized effort from an organization to be like, all right, guys, like, you know, here's, you know, like let's say they have like a director of content. Like, okay, here guys, like here's the plan for content on all of our individual channels this month. Like, here's some ideas, like, you know, make 2 videos this month or something. Like, I don't think that'd be like that crazy, but the guys you do have to have the effort from the players or otherwise it's useless. Like if the player is just whispering on his camera and not giving 1 ounce of effort and
well, 100%,
then it's useless. So like you do have to have the right personalities at the same time to take advantage of it. So there is a weird debate.
You can coach that out. Like you can just be like, you know, be more upbeat. Like you need to go to sleep and be here and be refreshed. Like, you know, this is part of your job is doing this content. You need to do it well because, you know, we get maybe more money from getting your face and getting famous this way than, you know, you like, so like there is, I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think the real debate,
they need
a
to
great
try.
example of that
like,
is
you just need to know
probably
that they're trying.
I mean, like Mbos, when he joined Optic back in BO2, like, I remember when he joined, like that's when I was avidly watching Nate Shot, like every video he posted. And like when Bose joined the team, like in that time, like through Ghost or whatever, like he was terrible on camera. He was horrible. And I'm like, dude, Bose is so annoying. He's so bad on camera. And then I was like, then he became great on camera. And I loved watching Bose and like watching all of his content and watching him with Nade Shot. And he was hilarious. So he completely U-turned. Like Bose, like hit the guy like that. So like if you know, and that's very possible to do with other guys if they have like I think a good example and like are willing to be coached up and like learn how to talk to a camera.
Well, it's also I mean it's repetition as well. Like, you know, Bose got good because like he was in a way forced to do it just with all the vlogs happening and other people's videos. And you could watch
Nade Shot do it, and you could watch those guys do it, and watch Hex do it, and
so it's like it's easy to learn. Like anybody, I think, can end up being on camera and like be like, you know, seem fine, but it's just like it takes practice. You just have to be able to do it a few times.
Oh my word, go back and watch my old videos.
Eventually you'll learn how to get out.
Makes me hate myself. So it's like, you know, anyone like I feel like I'm so much better than I was like even like 2 years ago on camera.
100%.
And so it's like anyone can improve on it, and realistically, you just gotta have the right people in place that are really good on camera themselves to help teach it and create like a good culture of content in an organization. And if that's the case, then suddenly these players and the organization can really start building from the ground up and like build that following just on social medias and on YouTube.
Yeah, and I mean, so, the content is also a very important part. Like,
right, and that's the thing. Like
knowing what you're going to be doing, and like, you know, some of the content is stale. I feel like from some orgs where it's just like. Some of it's just like rehashed stuff, but like there needs to be more, I feel like, innovation involved with these things.
Well, that's the thing too, is like, you know, everyone uses current Optic as the blueprint. But realistically, I think you have to use like Black Ops 2 optic as the blueprint, because optics evolved with their fan base, in the sense of like, as they got so popular and successful, they didn't have to do the things they did originally when they were small. Like those teams need to bit every other org in the CDL right now is small. Like,
I don't know about that. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, optics content worked because of Nadeshot
but
and
it was
Scum
a
posting on their
time too, though.
Well, yes, for sure. But like, I mean, like the whole philosophy of it as a whole, like their content worked because individually they were all like Nadeshot and Scum were posting on their channels. And then they had some collective optic content that started really taking off in the BO2, Ghost, AW, BO3 range. And then like uniting optic under the optic gaming content while also using the individual content to spur that growth. But like, I'm not sure.
Individual content's always great for sure.
I mean, what are your thoughts? Like, do you think I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted on like just doing organizational content. Like,
well, here's the thing. Personal content is not going to hurt you at all. Like, it's going to be great for you. But I do understand why players wouldn't do it. Like, I agree. That's a lot to do, and they're not given enough resources to devote.
You have to be given the resources nowadays.
Yeah, like you have to be given. Like they're devoting all their time to COD. COD is more competitive now than it ever was. So, like the stakes are higher, and to expect them to also try and father this YouTube channel and make this big thing. Like, yes, people have done it, but like not everybody is Scum. Not everybody can do that. And
Crim's naturally hilarious. Like the dude can just sit down and have a hilarious conversation with somebody. You know, like he's a naturally talented conversationalist. So it's a lot easier for him, I think, to say like, just do content versus, someone who hasn't done it before and wasn't in optic gaming for, half a decade.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of a back and forth there. Right. Sam, what do you think about like the content convo?
I was going to say, like, I will say I used to like, go back to Black Ops 2, like Scump posting like live commentaries and that kind of thing. Now it's like, I feel like it's just so oversaturated where like a pro will just like play games and like just show their face cam and that's it. Like that.
Yeah, that's how YouTube nowadays.
The thing is, YouTube is like too mainstream now for that type of stuff to be as appealing.
I know.
And especially since we've watched all that type of stuff in the past. Like we've watched so much. The only thing we're getting from it is a nostalgia fix, but that can't carry you forever.
Mm-hmm.
There's ways to get creative with it though, if guys put the effort in.
No,
I just feel
like there's like, I think there's
definitely a market for it.
These players are like really pushed to do content, and so they think, well, I'll just play like a game and like show my face cam, and it just is just.
I think it's unrealistic to force or expect players to do it on their own. Like they need to have like a content director. Like, let's just say, for example, like if you're, I don't know, Toronto or you're London Royal Ravens, you need to hire like a content director who is directly overseeing the personal content of the players and providing like video ideas. And you have an editor in place to edit every single one of their videos.
I don't even think, I think it should go further than video. I mean, depends what you mean, but like, I don't think you should give them a list of video ideas. Like you can have them have.
No, you're helping them prepare the videos and like doing all of that together. And then like, there needs to be a current, let's just say like literally like in a world where like they hire
organization's content at that point. Just throw them on the organization channel.
Well, what I mean is like, I mean, maybe you can just have one channel for all your players, but I feel like that doesn't really work in today's YouTube world. Like,
or you buy your player's personal account and do their content for them. But like by doing the player's content, that like you need to be able, like they're putting in work to make that player more famous individually. So even when they retire, they're still going to have the following that they have on YouTube. I don't think it's fair for the org to do something like that and they're not getting a lot of benefit. Like benefit's not going to last them forever.
Well, you need to have a ultra account that like,
because then the player is just getting fed. Like, you're going to grow my YouTube
I know what
for
you
free.
mean. I know what you mean. But like what I would say is that you need to have it, like what Hex is obviously a unicorn in the scene when it comes to like he's the head of the team, but also a content creator in himself. And then he's still the host of the podcast now, where like you need to have like a spearheaded content creator with your organization. Kind of like how like Midnight for the Rocker was trying to do that originally. but then I feel like it's kind of evolved now where it's a little bit different. But like you need to have a content creator who's going to be like really identifies with the brand that you're going for, and then spearhead the content with your COD pros long term. So like that person is the mainstay regardless, and he's in it for the long term with your organization.
Well, aren't they already doing that? Organizations pick up streamers all the time.
Yeah, but those streamers aren't spearheading content with their COD pros on a regular basis.
I mean, they're usually playing Warzone or something. So
yeah,
like,
but I mean, like
think that's
podcasts
kind of the excuse.
and commentaries and like collab videos and like really spearheaded for YouTube on their personal channels and like innovating all of that together while uniting on one team branded account with podcasts and challenge videos and those things. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I agree with that, but I don't know how easy it is to find, you know, big content creators like that who are watching, super involved with a competitive COD.
Well, yeah, I mean,
like as much as we are,
a huge content creator. I mean, yeah, but otherwise you have to start from the ground up. Like let's say they either picked up the pod or picked up myself or something like that, like to like help spearhead content. Like someone like us or bigger, obviously, would probably be an ideal situation for
the
flank.
CDL the flank is a good example.
Oh yeah, the flank's a good example. And then like even utilizing Zuma more, like, you know, see where New York like embraces Zuma. He hosts the NYSL podcast, and then they're spearheading content on the NYSL channel with Zuma. But realistically, Zuma needs to be heavily involved in curating that content. He can't just be a bystander. He needs to be like, I'm doing the content, you know, for it to really work in the long term. I think.
I mean, is he not doing that?
Well, not on an NYSL YouTube channel.
I was gonna say, like,
I see what you're saying.
It's all personal.
I mean, but that's it's up to the org. Like,
right.
The org has
I think that would be the best recipe for success for for smaller organizations like a LAG or, you know, London or Ultra or the Surge or something like that.
I feel like the hardest thing is finding out what works. Because like, you know, they are limited to what they can and can't say. Like they probably like, I don't know how easy it is. Like if you're on org to like start trash talking and like an enemy team or whatever.
Definitely.
And like talking about even some of the things that we talk about even is like more controversial in nature. Like they don't want you talking about or whatever.
For sure,
like, it really kind of vanillas whatever the content is because of that.
Yeah, that's the thing. And so like, that was why I think the Huntsmen last year were like, they did break down some of those barriers, and it was risky of them to do like the tier listing COD pros videos and like those types of videos. But like, people ate them up. I mean, there is a debate there where it's like, okay, you know, playing it safe in content doesn't work forever. That's the thing.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Like, you know, people can only take vanilla for so long before they get bored. So
it gets but I could, you know me, I could talk about this all day long, and I would be hyped to talk about content theory all day long.
And by the way, I don't think we should villainize Paris for paying. Well, here rumoredly that Paris is the one. Like,
they are. I mean, obviously,
but like, how they are not a rich organization. How much do you want them to go bankrupt and forced to leave the league and not pay their players, or pay their players the minimum? At least everyone's getting paid and they can stay in the league. Yeah,
but like now they're just holding players. They're holding players out.
I think it's more of a like matter of like, why join a $25 million league and then not try?
From the beginning. And maybe you can use COVID as the excuse, but
like, they didn't even try year one.
No,
like,
I mean, we can blame just the original decision to get in the first place, but I don't know. The past is the past. Now they're here. Like, I'd like Paris to start doing well, and I'd like Paris to grow more of a following.
Yeah, and like I think that's the argument is like what like Crim even said. Like they're in this league and they haven't put out any content. Like
they barely even had a social media manager for a year and a half.
So it's
like, stuff like that just can't be acceptable.
Like,
what's wrong with Paris? I mean, we were doing that for a long time.
Like, I don't think we'd villainize them if they were like trying to put out content and like that kind of thing. But like, they're not saying anything, and it's just
more like we don't know what they're doing.
It's annoying because it's like you really are bringing down the league when there's like one team out of only 12 teams not doing anything. It's like, well,
because the one thing that Crim said was like, he said that Hastro told him that like winning champs didn't really do anything for them in acquiring sponsorships, because it was really all based about their eyeballs and how many fans they have and their content. And like the CDL like is just in a weird spot right now where like winning champs doesn't really get you more fans right now. Like,
just crazy.
It does to an extent, but then you lose your roster you had last year, and now you're like, okay, I mean, it's a little bit different now.
Yeah,
it's a weird spot.
I can kind of see that. Like, I don't know if like not winning champs helps, but like I think
it doesn't hurt. Obviously,
like I feel like with COD at least, it feels like it's more of like if you're a really good team, like in general, like you're gonna get more sponsorships. So like Dallas is probably getting more sponsorships than Paris was, just like, or
for sure,
I don't know, Seattle or so, like just because they are just a better team, like throughout the course of the whole thing. Because I just remember World War II champs, and you know, I don't want to be like mean or anything, but it's kind of disappointing to see like evil geniuses just win it kind of out of nowhere,
just because they had no fans.
They had no fans. The whole year they practically like did nothing. And then all of a sudden, this like strapped together.
It was an insane
team.
run. People were rooting for TK though. That was the thing. Is like the team that everyone wanted to win was TK.
Well, it's because like
the grand
no
finals.
One, like you like an underdog, but you like a legitimate. Like it's not fun when it's just like out of left field and then they win it. Kind of
I
like
thought it was kind of epic,
quasi easily
because it was
like,
literally insane.
What? Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I just feel like relatively in the COD scene, you know, you're gonna want like I don't feel like that probably maybe did a lot for evil geniuses because like these just kind of came out of nowhere. There was no storyline to it. It just was, oh, they're here now. Like,
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, there is like a weird like balance there for sure. Some of the other things, like the last few things that we're basically talking about was like on the flank, like Alex mentioned how like they want to utilize like analytics and but also balance like player input and coaching, like kind of like the balance of like how you manage a team with players, analytics, and coaching, and like the combination of all of them. And like he felt like the analytics value has been insanely valuable for them, even though they haven't been winning. Or like they like their analyst Doug, he does an insane job, and like he says he has some programs like he can literally see where people are looking on the map, and like these is like he'll get like give them stats like 1%, only 1% of the time a player will actually look in this corner of the map, or like this spot on the map, or like this area of the map. Like 1% of rounds is where someone looks that way and like looks at these spots. Like so it is interesting to see like kind of how analytics can be developed and those types of ideas too.
Yeah, that's insane, honestly. And like I think like with like technology within esports is growing, stuff like that is going to be so crazy.
Some crazy things eventually.
Like, oh man, yeah, it's going to start looking like, more and more like chess, and it's going to be amazing.
Definitely, like the fact that they can already like see where players are looking and like to like know, okay, go to this spot where only 1% of the players look at. Like that's going to be insane. I'm so excited for the future. It's going to be great.
I agree. I mean, there's definitely going to be like a Moneyball revolution with analytics in esports pretty soon here if it's not already happening. Yeah. And it'll happen faster for certain esports than others because of the software that's developed for those games.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening there. But yeah, I don't know. The other thing that I thought was interesting was like in the Slasher flank episode, no free shots, of course. Basically, I always think it's interesting how like pros dump on like stats and like KD and those things, and then they always point to like the first thing they say is I was frying, I had like this KD. Like it's just weird. I don't know. It always just rubs me the wrong way.
They don't want to throw
like
against
I
them.
think they say that because like I think there is stock to be put into your KD.
Like it affects public opinion.
I think it affects even just like it's actually a pretty decent, not decent, like it is a representation of what this person is as a player. Like if everything else is the same, but someone has a 3.3 KD and one
there
has
is at least a correlation
to
a
2.5, you're taking the 3 KD.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like obviously there's a correlation to being good, and everything's statistical analytics. Like, does it correlate at like a high rate or a low rate to talent or to success or to these things? And like those are like speaking of Moneyball and like those types of things, I can't wait to see how that develops and like the correlation reports between talent and skill and success and winning and KDs and all of those things, where we've seen reports about that in the past, but it'll be even more interesting to see how that develops moving forward in a CDL.
Yeah. I'll just say, like, we can look at, LAG of last year and kind of the tragic story it was, where it's like you see these, they should be kind of like good minds of COD and like decent reputations, but like they kind of just were lacking in the KD department. Like Vivid was a guy. Like, you
can always ask.
You want at least one guy who can just fry. Like, he may be a selfish loser, but like
selfish
loser.
Wow.
But he is like sweeping. I was going to say a different word, but I didn't want to. I didn't, our younger listeners.
You like Vivid. That's that. You like Vivid.
I do like. I'm not saying Vivid. Like, I'm not saying anyone's a loser.
Yeah.
I was going to use a different word, but like, because high KD can like really, they're super selfish or whatever, and like that's true to an extent, but sometimes, like, when you're playing FaZe, wouldn't you just like to have the guy who can just kill at the same pace that they
but
can?
There's always that extra question of why. Like, there's okay, we're losing. Why are we losing? Like, okay, you have a bad KD. Well, why do you have a bad KD? Like, why aren't you winning gunfights? Okay, well, I'm not winning gunfights because of my positioning. I'm not winning gunfights because I'm not playing off my teammates well enough. We're not communicating well. We're not watching each other's lines of sights well. We're not maximizing each other's lines of sights on the map. We're not positioning ourselves well. We're not rotating well. Like, which one of these
100%
X million factors is it? And all of those things, is probably like a 4% increase in all of those things might be the difference between an 8th place team and a 4th place team.
No, 100%.
And
I totally agree.
On a puny percentage of a handful of those variables, it's so hard to track. And like, that's why I think it is important to have this analytics and those coaches and so many people watching, because any of those small things, whether it's like a few moments where you're miscommunicating a line of sight, or you're not maximizing a line of sight, or watching an angle that's not as advantageous as another angle could be, like all of those small things add up big time in your 30 to 40 gunfights in a map,
Right.
Which is crazy. But okay, if we don't move on, we are never getting through this episode. So we should probably move on. This was like an hour-long news segment, or maybe longer than that. Probably longer than that.
New record.
Definitely getting there, and just a bunch of small conversations to go through. So those are the types of things I can talk about all freaking day, though. But today, I mean, we're coming in hot, baby. This is going to be spicy.
Hot.
It's hot. And we're going through the hottest takes on the COD Reddit, and breaking it all down. I'm going to go through some of the ones that there was a recent post, and we'll go through it. So without further ado, guys, let's hit this drop and talk about it. Let's go.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Oh, it's spicy. It's hot. It's the Reddit hot take. So there was recently a post, basically like, give us your hottest takes, basically. Things that people don't agree with, basically along those lines, that you think is wrong. And so we nitpicked some of the ones, about maybe 5 or 10 of them, that we want to go through today and talk about some of the spiciest, hottest debates in the competitive COD scene, and go from there. So, I mean, do you want to start us off, Rex, with one of the ones that you want to talk about off the rip here?
I mean, we'll just start from the top. Okay. So someone's hot take is that for me, it's ban and protect. I loved it. I have absolutely no idea why it got so much hate. Pros are so used to running the same class all year. As a viewer, the garbage and variety was incredibly entertaining.
Say it.
No, yeah, okay. So I think all of us we might be in agreement here that
ban and protect's fun.
The worst thing about ban and protect was the time. It was terrible.
It was horrible.
It took so freaking long, and the league play, which was a big quote, air quote in Bo3, was obnoxious because of ban and protect. You could sit there for
unbearable
5+ minutes not being in a game because of ban and protect. So if there was a faster way to do it, a more seamless way to do it, or maybe just for the pros and not for like league play, and like maybe there's more like, a different way to do it where you're not doing it with the same. I don't know. If you innovate it in some way, maybe it makes sense. But like, if we had ban and protect exactly how it is in Black Ops 3 or not having it, I'd rather not have it.
I mean, I like ban and protect, but if we're going to do it, then
it can't be like Black Ops 3.
It can't be because Black Ops 3, they were just banning what was already GA'd. Like, no one was going to use it anyways.
You're banning rapid fire.
So it really just made ban and protect pointless.
Agreed.
I was going to say, go ahead.
But like, so I think it's good, but I think I wish people would actually use it to have a strategy against it instead of just be like, these are our GAs. Everyone knows. We go in, you just ban the GA'd stuff. It's like they weren't going to play with it anyways. So like, why do you even do this? Got one ban.
What if you could ban trophies, or you could ban like the VMP? You could ban one gun or something like because before it's just like League play would get so toxic sometimes because sometimes you'd have those games where it's like every gun was banned. I know like, this is terrible.
I know it should be like segments or something. It's like you choose one gun, one attachment, one perk.
My point is that Ban and Protect was mainly for viewership. Like it was fun to see like certain things, but like as a competitor, I'm sure it's going to be so annoying where it's like I might not be able to use the VMP or any SMG because all the SMGs are banned. So it's like, what do you do? And like, so like, I think it's a cool idea. But to me, for like a serious competitive game, I don't know if
I don't know how you implement it fairly.
I don't think it's like the way to go. And then especially for like ranked play, it just did not work and it made it miserable where like you just play there was like a second playlist.
It would just get ugly. So I don't know. I agree with you there. Like there's positives to it and maybe there's a way to do it right, but not like how Black Ops 3 did it. They have to be different. So fair play. I guess we don't agree with that hot take. Trash, cold take. Let's go.
Irrelevant.
Wow.
So actually, well,
what do we got next, Sam?
All right.
What's
number
the next
2
hot
here.
take?
MLG being treated as almighty.
Oh,
they did a lot. They did a lot, but in a critical time, they completely stunted growth of this esport and personalities within. You could argue the players themselves accepted it, but once one domino fell, they all had no choice.
My first question is,
so are they talking about
what
MLG.TV?
they did? I think just MLG in general, like the whole thing, which is essentially like esports engine now or whatever. But like, I guess I want to know exactly what he means or she means by saying that they completely stunted the growth of this. I think
they're talking about MLG.TV and forcing all the COD pros to stream on it.
They said they did a lot, but in a critical time, they completely stunted the growth of this esport.
Yeah, MLG.TV.
But that wasn't a credit. Like that was so early on.
That was in a critical time when Twitch was just starting.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty critical. Like it's like that was a big deal with like all the players were trying to get banned from MLG.TV.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's what we're using as the art, like if that's what this person's talking about, then I don't think it holds up.
But maybe there is some like
such a long time ago, and like one thing that like did it stunt? Like I don't know really. Like whatever was going to happen afterwards, I think was going to happen anyways.
I think it critically stunted the growth of MLG, of competitive COD.
Definitely.
I mean, a little bit. Like it was just Scum growing a following, but Scum got that following anyways.
No, it's about every other COD pro because like you're not gonna find, Hook streaming AW on MLG.TV, but you would have found him on Twitch. You would have found him on YouTube. But
you did though. Like not everybody was signed to MLG TV.
No, well, every big pro was.
I mean, I'm just not sure that's what they're talking about.
That's 100% what they're talking about.
I mean, hopefully they're watching because I don't see that. Like, I guess I see where you could say it's a critical time, but to look back at that as where we are now, like, that's small potatoes.
Yeah. I mean, like, maybe they could be talking about like Black Ops 4 season 2. I'm just trying to like,
because I don't even
about.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know what else it would be.
It was kind of vague.
But based off of like the idea, I mean, like MLG did so many things right though that like it definitely countered considering like what happened with like some other esports and like the tournament organizers and so many whack things that happened. Like there were definitely a lot of unbelievably great things that CWL did and that MLG did. It just really, the only negative one was MLG.TV. And that was more of like Activision really than it was MLG trying to do that, because Activision got bought because they wanted MLG.TV to be, Activision bought MLG because they wanted it to be MLG.TV. So they kind of forced that down the competitive scene. So
I don't know. This MLG.TV thing, I think this is a cold take. I just don't think it really holds up.
That's fair. I mean,
I think MLG is treated as almighty, and whether they shouldn't or not, but for that reason, I don't think that applies.
Interesting. Okay.
Fair.
Well,
I mean, very fair.
I mean, MLG is treated as almighty, but I think so far, from what I've learned, they've kind of earned it.
Definitely. I mean, like they were basically what
they were the
there with
backbone
Call
of
of Duty.
competitive COD.
Yeah,
I mean,
say, like they were
competitive COD
they were
would
there
die
for,
without them.
Yeah.
Right. And like there was a lot of good things. There was a lot of bad things, like the ML, like game battles and like forcing COD pros to like do all of the GBs, ladders and stuff wasn't ideal either. But like a lot of the other things were unbelievably great. So it's like there's just the kind of give and take there. I think overall MLG's goated and legendary, and I freaking love MLG. But I'm biased because I worked with them.
Yeah, I think so far MLG hasn't been too bad. Like, I think they've only been pretty much great.
Yeah,
things.
I'd say this is an extremely hot take that probably
That
only
is a
he
cold
thinks
one.
about. Yeah.
Unless we're missing something. Because I still feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah, that's fair. So, all right. Well, the next one that is interesting. There was a lot of them about like about COD games, but I thought we'd just keep one of them in because it was just like, otherwise we'd just be debating COD games all day. And like, that's just another video basically at the end of the day. So this one is MW2 is by far the most overrated COD ever. If that game came out today, we would be moaning about it. And like we did with recent CODs. I'm not talking about competitive. I'm talking about the pubs as well. That doesn't mean I think it's a bad game. I just think it's just a mid-tier average COD.
I mean, there's a debate.
Go ahead. I think it's going to be like, so like by far Modern Warfare 2 was like the most, like one of the most popular titles because like that was like just,
it was game breaking. It was just like,
yeah,
innovative. Yeah.
So like it like pretty much almost has to be the most overrated COD because like it has the most hype around
rated.
it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I get his point where like if it came out today with like one man army, noob tubes, all this stuff, where it'd be like, okay, this is super annoying. But at the same time, it was
didn't
like
come out today.
No, yeah, it came out at a time where like that wasn't like such a prevailing thing. It's like
it was very niche to do those tricks.
Yeah.
Like when you knew those, like, you know, the one man army to keep getting infinite noob tubes, like at the time, like the internet, I guess I don't know how to, like the internet wasn't like so prevalent. Like nobody was going on Reddit or all these other places to look up.
Content creators were just starting to take off.
How to do that and like learning to do that. Whereas like nowadays that would be exploited immediately and then everybody would be doing it. But back then, not a lot of people were doing it. So when you did it, it was kind of like, I'm hacking. Like I'm just like getting infinite noob tubes. No one knows how to stop me. No one knows how to copy me. So that's why it's more interesting back then. But when like everyone's doing it, it ruins the game.
Yeah.
But at the time, not a lot of like, it was rare to see it.
Yeah. And I will say with like my point of view, I very much was only like a pub player back then. So like,
oh yes,
I wasn't like watching competitive or like, you know, whatever the scene was. So
I'm least qualified to talk about this.
Yeah. So like maybe the competitive scene wasn't very good. I don't know. But like as a game, Modern Warfare 2 was like groundbreaking and it was fun. I like you can't say it wasn't fun. I mean, it was
I mean,
amazing.
again, like I didn't own COD till BO2. So like I played this at friends' houses and stuff, but I never actually like grinded it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like from my experiences playing MW2, I enjoyed it a lot. And I bought it later and played it a lot back like in the BO2 times.
Absolutely. And like if you're looking at it too from like a strictly like overarching view too, like Modern Warfare 2 also really propelled the whole YouTube scene, propelled all this stuff. So like it really did help comp in the later years too, where like it like got foundations for like certain people to start sniping, which like you know in turn they got really good at it. And yeah, so I think by and large Modern Warfare 2 was a very pivotal point in the in the Call of Duty history. And
I can see what he's saying though. Like the game's not balanced. It's not like
no, it's not.
There's
balanced.
a lot of broken things.
There's exploits, 100%.
So I would say his take is like right in the sense that like this game wouldn't hold up today. But like, does anyone expect it to hold up today?
Like, no, I don't think so.
No,
I mean,
for the time it was made, it was great. Which that's why I like games. Even now, it's like there's more and more pressure on developers to create these crazy good games. But it's like, I don't know, when you have so many people like researching how to beat this game, how to do all these weird things, like it's so available to everybody that like it's hard to learn the niche little things that kind of like separate like the casual from the
for sure
competitive, I guess.
If it was remastered today, would it hold up? Like if like COD 4 when it was remastered? Because I think it would hold up if it got remastered.
I think it would. I think they could tune everything and it'd be fine. Like
I would imagine this guy would say it wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I think it would because
for competitive standards,
just as a game. He said even as pubs.
As a game, like Modern Warfare Remastered even like added in like extra camos, all this stuff, and so it's like I think it could drop now, remaster it, maybe new, get
make it a little bit more modern.
Army.
Yeah,
and I think it's I would love it. I would love to play pubs in that game again.
I agree.
So
yeah, fair play. All right, Rex, what's up next on the hot takes?
Okay. Crimsix as the GOAT. The accolades are there, but I just don't think it's accurate. I'd argue he's been the worst player on his team since AW, with the exception of World War II, where it was Karma. When you think about the GOAT in other sports and games, they were the highest skilled individual over a long period and have the accolades to match. In my opinion, Crim is missing the piece where he was the best player in the world for more than one title.
I mean,
that's a bad take. Let's be honest.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a bad take.
Here's the thing.
I mean, we're in the era of the top. This has kind of been the hot topic lately. It's been the top, X amount of COD pros all time. I put up my top 50 COD pros video just a few days ago. So I think Crim's the GOAT when it comes to longevity, but I think you have to weigh it differently than you weigh a sport. Because in a sport, like some incredible players, like it just comes down like, there's a lot of different factors and COD's so different.
Absolutely. And I just don't understand. Like, okay, so like if he's saying like he has to be the best on his team for more than one title, so he's saying Ghost, right? Or Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
I just don't agree with that because like again, there's gonna be 4 players on your team, and like you're gonna have like one superstar,
right? Unlike football, where you're 1/22nd of the team.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
COD, you're 25% of it for most of the CODs.
If you are truly able to be consistently like winning
matters.
Winning is what matters. Like there was this take. I can't remember who. I think it was Rambo who was like, there is when someone says they're getting carried, that's just so dumb because it's like
2 wins.
You cannot win 3v4. Like if you think someone's getting carried to wins, it's just not true.
Just
you cannot
think about
win.
any league play game you've ever had.
Yeah,
you have one bad teammate and you're like, this guy sucks. No matter how good I played, we literally couldn't even carry him. Like
exactly.
And that's against random pubs people, let alone COD pros. Yeah,
and to have Crimsix with accolades he has across multiple Call of Duty titles that have varied drastically.
Right.
I mean, that's GOAT material right there.
I would imagine this guy is talking about Scump then as the true number 1 of all time, considering he's been the best player in more than one title, and he was debatably the best player.
I don't know if he'd say Scump. Scump doesn't have the accolades to match
it's either Scump or Crim. Because Karma has the same problem that Crim would have in this argument. Same with Clay. He wasn't the best player for more than one title. So it's like...
I guess I don't know like who... Yeah, who...
It'd be Scump. It's the only other guy.
Oh.
Where you could argue that he was a top player in multiple CODs and the best player in multiple CODs. But...
I don't know if we've hit a place yet. I mean, Simp and Abizi might be those people
they're
eventually.
On their way. Yeah.
Where it's like they have the skill long term and they also win all the time. Like I don't think.
But like Crim was Scump or Crim was Simp in BO2 and Ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I think Crimsix is still the GOAT, but
yeah,
I'm just trying to think where he, like, if we're not even saying like, just because I'm not saying Crim like fell off, but like, he's not, you know, I'm not expecting him to be the top slayer on the team usually.
For sure.
I think he provides a lot more value that isn't just like, he just kills everything.
Yeah, definitely. But again, like, if winning's the most important thing at the end of the day, if you're making a top 50 COD pros of all time, like,
well, then even the roles too. Like, I mean, he's an AR. He's not going to be the GOAT
in modern COD. Yeah,
in modern COD, like, it's just not going to be. You know, so like,
no.
I mean, Clayster did it at times.
Well,
but Crim did it at times too.
Insight
but like,
did it at times.
Yeah, so it's like, I think he's like arguing that like it has to be like consistently all the time top slayer in your team every single event. I just don't agree with that.
I mean, really, you're just going Crim v Scump here. It's the top two in this guy's argument. So it's like, I just think that overall Crim's winning over this insane period of time. It's Crim and Scump are pretty close, but I would say Crim's extended period of time of dominance back in Ghosts and BO2 with Cole, and then transitioning straight into the Optic Dynasty, and then winning COD champs in Modern Warfare in a modern slide canceling COD, even though he was definitely playing second fiddle to Shotzi and the SMGs on that team. It's literally insane. His success over the long term is crazy, and that's why I have him as my GOAT. But fair play. So I would say it's a cold take. That's a trash take.
Mm-hmm.
He is the GOAT.
Yeah.
What do we got next,
yeah.
Sammy?
Okay. Dashy is good at COD, but doesn't have a playstyle or work ethic that can consistently win.
Oh. So he's saying that Dashy's basically insanely overrated.
Probably.
I mean,
basically, is
get
what he's
where
saying.
He's coming from. I think he's saying kind of what I've said in the past too. It's like, yeah, and like Dashy is like really good slayer, and he's good individually, but he does have sort of like a lone wolf aspect to him as well. Where like he doesn't really fit to a team. The team either has to fit to him, or he's just going to do his thing. And he'll get kills and everything, but like it may not always be like the smart kills, I guess, the right ones.
On the surface, you can't argue this because like,
right, that's what I'm saying.
You look at what he's done, you can't argue with this on the surface. But is it really because of his work ethic or play style?
I don't think it's because of his, I'm not going to speak to his work ethic, but I mean, I could see the play style aspect of things coming into it.
Right, because on the surface, his take's not like just as a hot take or like as a debatable take. I wouldn't say it's like that spicy. It's like yeah. I mean, he hasn't consistently won, so I guess right, like you're saying, Sam. But I agree with you. Like, I don't think it's the playstyle and work ethic that's inherently holding his teams back from winning. Like, well, Dashy's work ethic and play style was not the highest problem on the totem pole for Optic last year.
No.
And you know, when you compare him to other teams in the CDL, like, he can definitely win. I would say this is a very wrong take.
Mm-hmm. No,
I don't think it's, I think I see where he's coming from. Like, again, I'm not speaking to the work ethic because that's so like, how would I ever know how hard he works or whatever?
Right.
But, like, doesn't have the right play style that can consistently win. I think like it kind of makes sense. And it's not like, and I don't think he's saying like Dashy doesn't have the right play style, that's why Optic was trash. He's not, I don't think he's making that overarching statement, but I think he's saying like everyone just hyped Dashy as like the only good player on Optic or whatever this year, but Dashy had his problems that weren't helping the team. And it feels like people sort of are overlooking that. And maybe. I think it does come down to this playstyle. We saw him in OGLA. Eventually, he was removed from the team and he subbed in like last minute, which being that subbed in last minute almost fits what Dashy is intrinsically. It's like he's supposed to come in. And
I think there's going to be...
He can play his game and do well, but how much is he affecting the team?
I mean, I know what you're saying. And I get the idea that like Dashy isn't the most adaptable of players.
If I'm conduct comparing him to somebody we actually know, but the audience doesn't know, it's like I'm the kid sometimes. He is. Like they'll play too far back. We're like,
this
you've
is
gone
really
and done
relevant
Shut up.
comparison. No. Well,
like, you know what I'm saying, though.
So, I mean, yeah, I know what you mean, but like, if we've seen teams, and like, I get what you're saying, but if you build the right team around Dashy, I could see a world where, I mean, Dashy, I think almost inevitably will be on a team that'll just start dominating eventually. Like, he's going to be unkilled, like, insane. If the right team around him with the right players, like, that could easily be a situation where he just literally is unkillable and this team is insane. Like, yeah, because, you know, I mean, there's no argument to say that, like, he is inherently that much worse than Celium or Cammy or any of the elite flexes in the CDL. He's right there with those guys when it comes to talent. And then he just has to figure out exactly how he plays with his teammates realistically. And so I get what you're saying. Like, I get like the whole argument.
Well, I think Cammy probably plays with his team than Dashy did. Like, I think they are separated in that aspect. Like, sure, we say they're both great, like crazy talented, but I think Cammy does play a smarter game, sometimes plays more team-oriented than maybe Dashy does.
What if that's because of his teammates?
I was going to say,
hold on. Why does the team have to, 3 people have to meld into one individual, like to fix themselves to what this one individual wants? That one individual should be fixing themselves to what the team is doing.
I mean, but like if he's playing the right role and they're not capitalizing on his kills, then like that's a problem too.
Well, hold on. Like, but you say capitalizing, like maybe they're not in a position to capitalize on these kills because he's going too far up. Like, yeah, he's getting kills. And I think, again, we're looking at the KD aspect. Like, it's not all about KD.
Obviously, this would take like a full on, this would take a full on, like, year-long VOD review of all Optic matches to really get like a full on view of it. But for my opinion, I don't think Dashy has been one to go like full on rogue. It really comes down to like, I think there was just more full on team play problems between Scump, Formal, Envoy, and Dashy as a squad that was holding them back from winning.
I'm not solely blaming Dashy
work
either.
ethic or play style, specifically as an individual.
I would like, you know, I think Dashy has his faults that people just kind of overlook sometimes.
Yeah, that is very fair. Yeah. That is very fair. Okay. Well, I guess we can leave it at that. I would say it's a cold take overall, not a right.
I'll call it medium.
A medium take. Sam?
Yeah,
I don't like the work ethic part. I feel like that's so it's just a weird jab, but
I just
whatever.
don't think you can say that. So
yeah, I agree. So okay, next one up here is a very interesting take here. I was surprised to see this one in there, but I wanted to talk about it at least a little bit before we end the pod. The open bracket format is overrated. Seeing the same AM teams take the same spots every open bracket just to get body slammed by the pro teams wasted a day nearly every event.
Jeez. Came in from the top ring with this.
Yeah, that was an elbow from the top ropes.
Wow.
Thoughts
open bracket format is overrated.
So are we talking about like the old
open bracket
style
formats where if you were top 4 at the open bracket, you get put into the pool play and play against the pro team?
Yeah.
I
don't think it was overrated. I think it was fun.
No, I don't think it's overrated. Like it's obvious that like you're expecting the open bracket teams to do worse than the pro teams. Like that's an expectation. Where it became like great was like when like you'd see it, one of these teams make it through and like go far. It's like, okay, holy cow.
I think
these guys are like made of something. So
MLG Dallas first of World War II, I think, was where multiple open bracket teams made the run. Again, it was the first event of the year, so like pro points are going to be weird. But like, I think that was like Echo Fox. Maybe let me look it up. Yeah, like Echo Fox, that Assault, Faceno, and then that was when Gunless was in the open bracket in World War II. Faceno, Gunless, and Saints, and they were in the open bracket and made the run.
Oh, that's weird. Forgot about that.
And I think, if I remember right, FaZe Clan started in the open bracket in that event. Yeah. So the 4 open bracket teams were Echo Fox, FaZe Clan, Next Threat, which was Sensor, Methods, Ricky, and Nagafin, and then Team Allegiance as well. So, and those teams actually did pretty well. But again, that was the first event of the year. So like, you can have some weird situations where FaZe Clan and Echo Fox both finished top 6 from the open bracket, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So,
but no, I like if you're like just looking at like just like he's mad that those teams consistently did worse than the Pro League, like that's to be expected when you're having the open bracket. Like that's kind of the point.
Right.
It's like,
but are we also talking champs? Because the open bracket, like champs qualification format was legendary.
I wonder if this is an amateur player saying that, because just to get biased by the pro teams wasted a day nearly every event, which is like, you know, no one's like those weren't even aired until they made it to the group stage.
It was a whole day though, where
for the players to go through it.
From an event perspective, it was actually really, really annoying. So like from running an event perspective, because you finish the open bracket and you're like, oh yeah, done, and then you're like, crap, I've got to go watch this team get body slammed by Rise right now. You know, like crap. Now I got to go ref this match with Rise on the Delta stage. You know, like, oh goodness. Like time to watch a team lose 250 to 57. You know, so there were some of those things. Like from a reffing perspective, it was annoying at times.
Where I can also see like from a viewer, like it's not fun to watch like FaZe play against Paris or something. It's like this is just gonna be a slam dunk, and like no one really wants to watch it. But until Paris takes it to a map 5. That's when. But then once it's more interesting,
a few times a year, it's fun and worth it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of the debate. I think open bracket's a good time, and if we're talking about champs and like major tournament qualification type situations, I think it's a blast. And I love the open bracket. So, all right, guys, we're pretty far in. I think to now we can probably cut it off there, unless you have any of the other ones that you desperately want to go after. But if you guys are good with stopping there, I'm down to head into intelligent or irrelevant. Intelligent v irrelevant. And get into it. Let's go.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent.
Oh, baby. Sam. What do we got today? Intelligent or irrelevant? Intelligente or irrelevante?
Alrighty, children. So like I may have foreshadowed earlier on the podcast, you know, with all the contract talk, with all the, you know, money talk, I thought, you know, this question has been posed before, I believe, but, you know, contracts need to be made public in the COD scene for growth and stability to occur. That's a good idea, or that's a dumb idea?
I mean, as a viewer and spectator who has no connect, like I could care less how it affects everybody else, but I would like to know what their contracts were. Yes, I would. Like, it's benefit to me.
So what do you think people will like want though? What do you think the COD scene wants?
This is gonna be a 90 to 10%. This is gonna be a 90%. That's a good idea.
Who wouldn't want that?
Maybe 95.
I mean, I have questions about why wouldn't they? Like, why don't they do it?
Maybe the players don't want it. Players don't want their contract.
How this question is asked, this is a 95% good idea.
It's possible to have like social media flash, like, you know, knockback when like, what? You know, Vid's getting paid more than Hook or whatever.
I cannot wait to see what this is.
So people would go crazy on Twitter about it, where it's like, it's not worth dealing with that drama.
I also preceded the poll with just saying peanut butter straight from the jar is God tier.
Which it is.
It is. Do you ever? Okay.
Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started. About 80% of my days, I take a spoonful of peanut butter.
Oh, for sure.
That's my mid-afternoon snack.
Do you ever be a complete villain and do peanut butter and jelly out of the jar and just eat a spoonful of that?
What? I've never done that.
That's kind of
weird, dude.
It's peanut butter and jelly.
Dude, that's kind of a problem, man. I think you should go to see someone.
It's peanut butter and jelly without the bread carbs.
Oh, I get it.
You can't tell me that's a good idea.
I just find it weird you put in the extra effort to put that extra thing on your spoon.
I do. I like.
I'm like quick dipping out.
Half the spoon peanut butter, half the spoon jelly, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Anyways. Okay, I'm gonna vote that's dumb because
it is.
See.
You know what I have done? I've put like Hershey's Kisses and peanut butter in a bowl and like microwaved it, and then you put it in the fridge and like let like you stir it up and you make it like freeze together.
Okay, yeah.
It's not so great. to be honest.
Huh.
It's all right.
Not so
That's
great.
disappointing. I thought that.
I mean, it's like I'd rather just have a regular Reese's peanut butter cup, but
Yeah.
they still do. That's
Okay.
the situation with it.
Anyways,
It's a good second place.
76% say that's a good idea. 24% say that's dumb.
Okay, I want to hear comments that say
What?
it's dumb.
Yeah.
Is there any comments that say it's dumb?
I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a terrible question.
Yeah. What do you mean? Golly. You posted a gift saying that's an excellent question. I hate you.
I'm fronting for the people.
Golly.
Yeah.
Our man Desma first on the replies as always. I don't think it'll do much for growth other than legitimize it to some parents' young talent to pursue it. I think it does wonders for conversation and debates. It holds teams accountable for paying their players the mins or overpaying.
Yep.
Pros, cons, but should be done.
Yeah.
Hordes.
Did he point out a con in there? I don't think it'll do much. Well, I guess like it wouldn't do much for the growth, but I don't think it would hurt the growth
I agree
either.
with Min Marvel, who replied to with an irrelevant gif.
But I like to take hold teams accountable for paying their players the mins. But I mean, like overpaying. Like I wouldn't like a team to get blasted because LEG just has more money. I hope they pay them better if they have the resources to do so.
I do appreciate Ben just saying I have no idea.
Who?
Just Ben.
Nice.
I see
Love
now.
that.
I appreciate the honesty, honestly. Let's see what else we got. David, definitely. It allows players to know what they're worth in comparison to others. Allows for better negotiations and gives players more info when negotiating contracts. So yeah, definitely overall, people like it.
Definitely. Love
But
that.
I suppose I could have worded it better.
There's somebody who kind of dissented. He said, kind of. You don't have to pay to what? You don't have to have the pay be public, but contract years need to be public.
Oh, which it already is, isn't it?
Which it kind of is already known, I guess, if you signed a contract. We don't always know for sure if a guy signed a new contract or didn't.
Oh,
it can get a little bit weird sometimes, but
I think it'd be. I think they're right. Like, I guess I don't really care how much they're getting.
I
paid,
care about the money.
just
I want to know.
From an organization standpoint, I can see how that could be daunting, especially so early on. Like you don't want LAG getting roasted because they're paying silly, ungodly amounts of money. It's like, just let the man make his bag. Like,
or you see Paris paying someone $50K while Scump's making $800K.
Yeah,
it makes for great memes.
That's all the orgs can afford. I'd like to think that's all the orgs can afford.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah. Well, there you go, boys. What are you guys watching this week? What's going on? Have you guys been watching Squid Game? That's the real question.
I have the last episode to watch.
Okay, I ended up watching it. I hate dubbed over things, and I also hate watching it. No, that's even worse.
You gotta watch it, dude. You gotta watch it in Korean.
No, I watched it all dubbed over. I finished every single episode, and I hate it.
So bad, dude.
It was an epic show. It was really good.
I mean, it's a good show, but you're missing out on
you really are. You really are.
I hate watching any dubbed or any subtitled anything. I cannot. Because why would I watch something to read?
The thing that I found is like I prefer subtitles. I pretty much put subtitles on English things.
That is
like
oh my.
Here's
because for
thing.
me, I can like catch all the little things that are happening and appreciate them more.
Because then you just stare at the words.
You never get lost.
No, there are so many little audio things that like you'll just miss because you're just watching.
Not if you're blasting the audio.
But here's the other side too is that when 3 kids are screaming in the household and I can't hear anything, I need to be able to see the subtitles. So I have learned as a father, I need subtitles because
considering
sometimes
I watch all shows sitting in this chair with earbuds and plugged into my Astro headset. I mean, yeah.
Basically, what I'm saying is I'm trying to neglect my kids and watch TV. So
yeah, okay,
as you do.
I mean, it was definitely dope.
Yeah, I am watching Midnight Mass.
Okay. It gets creepy, doesn't it?
The 3rd episode was like, holy crap.
Oh, it gets even wilder. Yeah, it gets kind of crazy.
Yeah. So highly recommend.
Be prepared.
I can't wait.
It gets wild. But yeah, it's been a fun time. But there it is, boys. That's the podcast.
Hold on.
Oh,
I saw Halloween 2018 version.
Oh, how was it?
It was good. I've never been like a thriller.
I never watched any of them.
I've never been like a thriller horror suspense.
I do love thriller horror suspense.
I
like, love thriller.
I don't get scared from them, and I just feel like I don't really get anything from them. So, but I'm trying to appreciate them more, especially like, you know, Halloween season and all. But I don't know, they just like don't do anything for me.
Have you watched like some of like the iconic ones?
Oh, dude.
Well,
like,
I just watched Halloween. I didn't watch the 1976 version or whatever.
What you need to do is just take your headphones, go into bed by yourself, and just watch
Dark
like,
Room.
Yeah, like watch It. Dude, It by yourself is so creepy.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Salad fingers. I remember salad fingers. That's my type of YouTube. That's when you turn all the lights off, alone in your house. You have no idea what salad fingers is.
That's just weird, bro.
That's the good stuff right there.
That's just weird.
That's the good stuff.
Have you even watched like, speaking of just like even like thrillers, like Us or A Quiet Place or any of those types of movies?
Good
like
stuff.
just
yeah, I've watched though. I didn't. Or Us is like the first one, right? There was like 2 made by them.
Well no, it was Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
Us was Us was the second one. Get Out was the first one.
I didn't watch Us, but I watched Get Out. I thought Get Out was great. I'll say that. I did like Get Out a lot.
Okay, so you like thrillers. You like good thrillers.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Like I guess like the gory, like for I don't know, bloody, you know, Freddy
I've never seen any of the
Krueger.
Halloween stuff.
Those are kind of fun though.
Saw.
Like I do enjoy those like classic like stabber like
Stabber.
Michael Myers or Jason. What was that one called? Crystal. What was that freaking one called? Jason's like the main guy.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know. But like, there's like a new Scream coming out and all of those movies. I never watched any of those types of ones.
Yeah.
Have you like watched like Hereditary or like Conjuring or any of those?
Conjuring is so good.
Yeah, those are good. Those are really good.
I've heard like
so have you watched like Insidious?
Ooh,
I'm gonna be honest with you, like maybe on like I don't know for sure. I don't seek them, and to be honest, I really just don't remember. Like I don't know. Like I just like I think it's because I just never watched them as a kid.
Interesting.
Just like it. Like my parents didn't watch it. It just wasn't a thing that existed. Like it's not even I wasn't allowed. It's just like it just didn't exist.
Sam and I had a group of us in our grade that watched a lot of horror movies in high school.
We did.
So we were always on
I think at one point like we like watched like all of Netflix. Like
we were going through all of them. Like it was good. So
when I turned like 18 or whatever, I just like I watched a horror movie for the first time, and I was just older. Like it just didn't affect me the same.
Makes sense. Makes sense. But there's some good ones out there. If you watch the right ones, they're really, really good. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that one.
Babadook is good.
Oh, that was all right. It's fine.
All right, I'm gonna watch it though.
If you ever watched, I remember you asked this. If you watched The Haunting of Hill House, because that's such a good, just overall incredible show.
Gotta watch it.
Yeah, I watched that. Okay. I mean, that's good too. That's good.
There you go. All right. Well, there you go. Hope that's the podcast, boys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Like, comment, subscribe. Sure, if you guys really enjoyed it. Drop all your comments down below. We'd love to hear your guys' opinions, hot takes. Drop all your comments down below where you guys agree, disagree with these hot takes. Some spicy ones out there. And some of the news this week was a blast. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. If you guys did, again, we appreciate all the support. But as always, guys, I'm Josh. Salvationselite. To my right is Bash_Bo3 Sam. And to our farthest right, per usual, is none other than Rex Shady Nero. And guys, this has been the best 3 Call of Esports podcast. And we will see you next time. We out.